Please listen as I show you exactly how they erased my people's indigenous identity, how we went from being indigenous to America to being reclassified as African Americans in the 1980s. I'm also going to show you exactly how Africans tie into this.
The Plecker era was truly one of the darkest times for Native people. It's critical for us to think about what was the genesis of the ideology that Plecker was a proponent of. And it's really the eugenics movement. The eugenics movement has a direct link to the descendants of Charles Darwin. They somehow made the leap to these notions about racial purity. What is best for each race is racial purity. Plecker and his friends convinced the Virginia legislature to adopt very restrictive legislation in 1924. It's called the Racial Integrity Act. With this legislation, it was decreed that there were only two possible categories. One is white, which means a person, you check that you're white if you have white ancestry, Caucasian ancestry, and absolutely nothing else. The other category is everybody else, and that's colored. So this was very hard on Virginia's indigenous community because, in a sense, it wipes away their identity. Their identity on paper, their ability to describe themselves as Indian was not possible.
She made it abundantly clear that it was Charles Darwin and his descendants had a hand in essentially wiping out our existence on paper. Not only that, they changed our identities by renaming, reclassifying us all these different titles, bywords throughout the years. And Africans tie into that as well. As a result, we were no longer the tribes that we belonged to. We were the names, the titles that they gave us. Charles Darwin had a hand in making everyone Africans, the evolution theory, claiming that everyone came from modern day Africa. One thing you must keep in mind, though, that a theory is not a fact at all. It's not truth. It's just someone's assumption. And Charles Darwin's assumption that people who look like me, look like apes, gorillas, monkeys, and chimpanzees, is the reason why they came out of Africa. It's just utterly ridiculous that something like that would stick. Charles Darwin and his descendants were in charge of keeping their lies going, even down to this day. And Walter Plecker was a part of that. And not only that, these people are sworn enemies of the heavily melanated people on the earth. They're the ones that financed the slave trades, the sub-Saharan and transatlantic slave trades. They also wrote African American history. And they're the ones that spearheaded changing our identity over and over and over again. From the indigenous tribes that we belong to Negro, to Black, to colored, to Afro-American, and finally, African Americans in the 1980s. They also had a hand in taking people from the indigenous tribes of America into Africa, and from Africa back as African. They no longer carried their identity that they had in America, that the tribe that they belonged to. They were now African slaves. This is how it has stuck. This is why people are so confused and fighting about who is who. So all of these terms here, these are all prisoner of war terms. It's people who identify as Africans, whether they are in America or throughout the earth. They don't realize that the government named them that. That's not what they are. They are whatever tribe they come from. Everybody wants to fight the indigenous community, but we're the ones that are woke. We are the ones that know exactly what the government did to all of us in Africa and in America and throughout the earth. And please, stop calling people lost because they don't identify the way you feel that they should identify. Make sure it's not you who's lost and do not know true history. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Hey fam, if you enjoy my content, please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share on both of my platforms on TikTok and also on YouTube. Brutally honest, history lover. See you there.